Hi, I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from YourBlackWorld.com, and I was sitting here today. I'm sitting in St. Louis, Missouri, on my way to Michigan, and I saw something that one of the editors from News One sent over to me about Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney is the presidential candidate for the Republican Party. He was just I guess he just sealed the deal as he got rid of his arch nemesis Rick Santorum. And Romney was in the middle of a controversy last week in which Democratic strategist Hillary Rosen accused Romney's wife, Ann, of not having worked a day in her life. So Mitt came back and responded, which I think he responded correctly, by saying that every mom is a working mom because we know that the job of the mother is the most important job that there is. And I really believe that. But then it seems that Romney doesn't feel that mothers on welfare deserve the same rights as mothers like Ann Romney, and because a couple months ago, Romney said that if you have a child that's 2 years of age and you are on welfare, then you need to go to work. And he somehow cites that to mean that this is a form of personal responsibility that he wants to inflict on the mothers of America, which effectively to me says that he's saying that his wife has no personal responsibility, if you ask me. But anyway, to get a better perspective on this, I'd like to talk to my good buddy, my homeboy, Dr. Wilmer Leon. He is a professor at Howard University. Dr. Leon is also the host of Inside the Issues with Wilmer Leon that comes on Sirius XM 128 The Power on Saturdays from 11 to 2. And first of all, I want to ask Dr. Leon, how are you doing today, brother?
I'm well. I'm well, thanks. And you look to be doing well as well.
Man, I have allergies, and so for about 6 weeks in April and May, my face just feels like it's about to explode, man. So if I break in a fit of sneezing, I want to apologize to everybody in advance. I took my medicine. Hopefully that'll hold it down. But hey, if I start sneezing all over the place, then at least I warned you in advance. So, Dr. Leon, what did you think about this whole flap with Romney's wife and what this says, about the female vote, and also what it says about his perspective on working moms or better yet, moms who are on welfare, etc. I mean, what's your analysis on all this?
Well, in terms of the Hillary Rosen comments, this is really much ado about nothing. Hillary Rosen would have been much better to have chosen her words a little better by saying that Ann Romney has never worked a day in her life outside of the home. She omitted outside of the home, but everybody understood that's what she was referring to, and she's absolutely right. And what we also have to understand that what really brought this whole thing to the forefront was Mitt Romney saying on the stump that he gets his advice on economic issues as they relate to women from his wife. So he's the one who really opened up the door here for this whole debate. His wife, to my knowledge, doesn't have a degree in economics. His wife, to my knowledge, has never worked a day in her life outside of the home. So for him to turn to her for economic advice on women, I don't know. I mean, her perspective at best is very narrow. So, the Republicans saw a slip up in terms of Hillary Rosen's comments. They seized the moment and they won't let it go. Now, here's one more thing. Hillary Rosen is being described as a Democratic strategist. What the heck does that mean? Because if she is not employed by David Plouffe in terms of the re-election campaign for the president, if she is not employed by David Axelrod, and she's not a member of the White House staff, then I don't even understand why the White House is even responding to what Hillary Rosen said. Because who the hell is Hillary Rosen? So I had never heard of Hillary Rosen until Thursday. So I think the White House did a terrible job in responding to this, because instead of them catering to or caving into what the Republicans want to make this out to be, what they should have done was said, look, folks, let's not even get caught up in this foolishness, and let's understand the realities that Hillary Rosen was speaking to. Let's not get caught up in some semantic foolishness just to score political points for a Republican candidate. But unfortunately, the White House doesn't have the vision, and they don't have the guts to stand up and make these kinds of statements. Now, to your question, Mitt Romney's trying to have it both ways, because for him to talk about welfare mothers with children needing to go to work, yeah, that's true. Got that. The question is, what jobs are they going to go to? And what types of jobs are they going to go to? And is Mitt Romney willing to provide the educational support, the educational training, and the child care and the health care that is necessary to enable these single mothers to go to work? And is he also willing to address the fact that you have a lot of single mothers who are single mothers because their significant others have been incarcerated or are incarcerated? And those who were incarcerated in many instances have trouble returning to the home because of these draconian laws that don't allow convicted felons to come to public housing, to return to public housing. So you've got a lot of individuals who want to take care of their families, who want to return to the home, but are permitted from doing so because of, again, these draconian laws as it relates to welfare, as it relates to public housing, that prevent them from doing so. So unless Mitt Romney is willing to step up and truly address the issue with tangible policy and legislation approaches, he's talking out the side of his neck.
Well, we know that politicians in general are very good at talking out of the side of their necks. We know that Republicans are especially good at that. Now, one of the things that's really interesting to me is that Romney did say that he's willing to spend money paying for daycare so that, and this is a quote, he says, I am willing to spend more money giving daycare to allow those parents to go back to work. It'll cost the state more providing that daycare, but I want the individuals to have the dignity of work. So it's an interesting contradiction, because on one hand, you're saying that the job that your wife does as a mother is so important that she should stay home, in spite of the expense, because it leads to healthier, more productive children. But on the other hand, when you talk about other mothers who are on a different kind of welfare, because mind you, Ann Romney doesn't work for her money, which effectively means she is a welfare recipient. She just gets it from her big daddy in the bedroom, as opposed to from the state. But it's the same idea, that when you talk about these mothers on welfare, that somehow that it's more important to spend money on daycare than it is to spend the money allowing them to stay home and raise healthy, productive children the same way you're allowed to do. I mean, it really, let's just be clear, it's an elitist statement. It's basically saying, if you're on welfare, you don't deserve to have the same rights that the rest of us have. But, I would almost say that to some extent, maybe Ann Romney needs to be on the TV show Basketball Wives, because a basketball wife is a woman who has achieved a certain degree of status in society, not because of anything she's done, but because of who she has married, dated, impregnated, or whatever, or been impregnated by, etc. And so to some extent, you're saying that your wife deserves a type of treatment or a certain set of opportunities that other mothers don't get, that your children are more valuable than the children of welfare recipients. I mean, you're making that clear. You're saying if you have the resources, then your mom can stay at home and help you to have a healthy, productive life. But if your family does not have the resources, then to hell with you. Your mama's got to go to work because she needs to learn personal responsibility, although my wife doesn't need to learn personal responsibility. I mean, that's my interpretation of it. I mean, is that what you see here?
Well, yes and no. The difference that I think Mitt Romney would say is that Ann Romney is not taking money from the state. And so if you're taking money from the state, then you have an obligation to do something to either mitigate the amount of money that you're receiving or do something to minimize the amount of time that you are receiving that handout or that WIC or whatever type of assistance program you're on. And that's a sensible debate to have. The question is, if Mitt Romney is going to talk in these terms, saying that I favor providing child care, and that, yes, this is going to cost the state more money, well then, Mr. Romney, where's the money going to come from? And if he is in favor of Paul Ryan's budget, which is looking to cut, then where is this money going to come from? So Mitt Romney, on the one hand, is saying he favors something, but it doesn't seem to me as though he's putting anything on the table that will tangibly, through a policy initiative, support what it is that he's talking about. So what is he talking about?
Interesting. Well, I hear exactly what you're saying, and I think it's sort of an interesting kind of hypocrisy that on one hand says that, we support and we believe in family values, but if your family does not have sufficient privilege, then family values go out the window, because to some extent you and your children are menaces to society, and we really don't care what happens to you, because I think that there is, you really can compare, getting benefits from the state with the same benefits that come with white and wealthy privilege that Ann Romney and Mitt Romney come from. I mean, if you look at Ann Romney's past, she went to private school. She got to live this whole life that she wouldn't have lived if she was, say, a black or brown person in America. And so she's benefited from that entire legacy. And there are millions of families that will never get those same opportunities. And I think that their children deserve the same kind of love and respect from their mother that Ann Romney's kids deserve. And so I don't think it's a matter of insulting Ann Romney, but I do think that that this idea that the privileged white woman who happens to be married to Mitt Romney somehow deserves more of a right to love her children than a poor mother in a housing project is sick and sad. It's pathetic, actually.
Well, and this goes back to the narrative that Mitt Romney is out of touch. And that because of his earnings having worked for Bain Capital, because of his earnings on the corporate side, that he has a perspective and he has an approach to solving problems that are out of touch with mainstream America. And the fact that his wife went to private school, that's fine. The fact that his wife is the wife of a wealthy guy, that's fine. But when was the last time Ann Romney went to the grocery store? When was the last time Ann Romney stood in a checkout line? When was the last time Ann Romney did so many of the things that you and I do as parents, worked to get her child into a lottery system to get her child into a better school? Stood at an emergency room for hours trying to get care for a sick child. These are the things that average everyday Americans are grappling with, and we have to ask ourselves, is the person who's running for president, do they truly understand where the average American person is in the existence that they find themselves grappling with?
All right. Well, enough said. Well, thank you very much, Dr. Leon, for your point of view. I truly appreciate it.
Always a pleasure. Thank you for asking me.
Absolutely, man. And thank you all for checking us out at yourblackworld.com. And just so you know, this is Dr. Wilmer Leon. He is a highly respected political scientist at Howard University. He is also the host of the Sirius XM 128 show Inside the Issues with Wilmer Leon, which comes on Saturdays from 11 to 2. And his Facebook page is facebook.com/Dr. Leon's Prescription. Right?
That's it.
Which is a long name, man.
Well, but it's the one I'm stuck with now, so that's what we got to deal with. Dr. Leon's Prescription at facebook.com.
All right, I love it. I love it. Well, thank you all for checking us out at yourblackworld.com. And until we meet again, please stay strong, be blessed, and be educated. We are gone. Peace.